I believe that we are live. I had set up a couple of things prior to this, and I'm not, it doesn't look like what I did was right, and I don't know why, and I don't like that. I really want to learn how to do this technical piece of YouTubing. Let me readjust it here. You know, the technical part of YouTube is part of the job, and I really want to be able to do it correctly. So anyways, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for going to the premiere first. And I know it was kind of a long premiere, and ideally, you know, 6 to 14 minutes is ideal. But I really wanted Shirley's story to kind of get told, and I know people come and go, and that's perfectly fine. I do it too, have to do it, and that's just how it is. So welcome, thank you, and glad you're here. This is some iced coffee, and I'm going to take a sip. And so I'll be dropping your link here in just a minute, Shirley. Want to go over a few things first, but in the meantime, think of some questions for Shirley. You know, she has a lot of experience. 67 years old, out traveling alone, does hang out with friends, makes connections, and that's all fine and good. But at the end of the day, she is responsible for her own camp. She is responsible for traveling to and from, dumping her tank, filling her water, making sure all of her needs are met. And, you know, that really is a big deal. In my book, that is a big deal. And I am so grateful to find other women out there who are able to do that. So anyways, excellent information, Shirley. And I cut out, this was about an hour long. I will give you a couple of little insights into what happened. It was about like 58 minutes when I looked at it. And so I took out everything. I took out, I'm trying to help Richard here with the, with this. All right. I took out almost everything, as many things as I could about myself. I see that. And okay. I believe so. We're there now. And so that we could just get all of Shirley's stories in, all of her experience, because that's why I was doing an interview with Shirley and not myself, because I wanted to hear what Shirley had to say. So again, thank you very much for coming to that. All right, so a couple of things I'd like to talk about before we get into anything else. And since I'm, you know, I'm kind of a multiple personality channel, burning up the roads and prepping. And there's a couple things going on that just have blown up today. I just want to share, and I'd also like to get your ideas. And they affect everybody. They affect travelers. You know, they affect people who are got an apartment or a house hanging out there. And so I want to bring up a couple of different articles and just share them, and then have that be something that we can also talk about down the road in the in this live stream. So I'm going to start out here, and I'll bring it up on the screen. I'm going to go over here and make sure it's showing up. It is showing up. So here's the gist of it. The Department of Transportation has declared a regional emergency following BP Refinery Fire in Indiana. So there is a major fire in one of the biggest refineries in the country. I believe it's the 6th largest in the country, and I believe it's the largest in the Midwest, is my understanding. It says Department of Transportation. I'm going to blow this up as big as I can. Department of Transportation Agency declared a regional emergency for the Midwestern states on Saturday after a fire at an oil refinery in Indiana forced it to shut down. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration made the declaration to address the need for immediate transportation of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel for Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And I don't believe they know how the fire started yet. The declaration allows those states to be exempt from certain federal regulations to manage the emergency. And here's the big deal. It will permit motor carriers and drivers providing direct related assistance to the impact states not to abide by regulations setting a maximum driving time, which was 10 hours. So after they drove, here it is. The declaration states that drivers are required to take a 10-hour break when moving from emergency relief efforts to normal operations if the total amount of time they engage in emergency, blah, blah, blah. So that is being suspended. And it also says Reuters reported on Wednesday that BP shut down some of its units at its Whiting, Indiana refinery due to electrical fire. The fire was extinguished and the company said it was deciding when the affected units would restart. No injuries, thank you God. And it normally puts out 433 barrels per day. Provides 20 to 25% of the refined gas, diesel, and jet fuel that the 4 states collectively use. And Whiting is located on Lake. Okay, so my question, the reason I bring this up at all is my thought right off the bat was that what happens when they need fuel for their jets that are coming to and fro Chicago, O'Hare Airport, potentially. So do you think it will affect you? Do you think it will affect people that you know and love? Do you think that being, that they're going to have a lot less fuel in the area, they will start pulling fuel from other regions? It's just an idea. It's a thought. I was just real curious about that. Okay, so let me say hello to some people before I go any further, which I so rudely did not do. Thank you, Sue, for coming. And you have been in here off and on for quite a while. Very much appreciative of you. Kaylee, you as well. And I understand you will have to hop off here. And thank you, quiet listener, Victoria May, for coming in. Very appreciative that you are here today. Tracy Kroll, good afternoon. Heading to the kids. We have our late supper before we hit the road, so I will be checking back. Cool. Well, have a safe trip, and we'll see you when we see you. Carla and Ken Wise, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And we've got... So let's see. I think I had made a mistake. I said welcome to the premiere, but I was on the wrong channel. And I hope people. So can you tell me, were you directed here, or did you have to take the link that Kaylee left? And if you had to take the link and use it, if there's anybody who would help me figure this out, because I put it in to be directed immediately to this. I'm missing something. All right. Yeah, that's fine. It was a long one, but there was a lot of good information in there. Extremely important information. Dee, thank you for coming in. I know you got other stuff going on as well. I believe I saw you say, but thank you for popping in. Thank you. It was a good interview, and trust me, we took out a bunch. I took out a bunch of stuff that really, didn't really add to the interview. And thank you, Shirley. And hubby is here. Following Yellow Brick Road, D again. All right. So if you would not mind in sharing this out to your social media, if you haven't already, and we can get some more people here, that would be great and very helpful to the conversations. RV Grandma Charlotte is in the room. Thank you for coming, Charlotte. Higher airfare. Yes, of course, higher airfare. Yeah, of course. But what about the people who already have things paid for and are expecting to be able to come and go when they need to? Not directed. All right, so I'm going to have to do some fooling around with that and figure it out. I don't like that. I don't understand it. I'm a little confused, but I'll get it figured out eventually. It must not be rocket science. Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. All right. So the next thing I wanted to share about before we get Shirley up here is, let me share. I think there's 3 stories I wanted to share, and then give you time to think about them and, you know, maybe think of some questions or some ideas. All right, this is a good one. This is for California. And by the way, as it turns out, some other states. So California is leading the pack, as it appears, in new engine rules. And what will they mean for RVers? And by the way, other people who drive through their state. By 2035. Earlier this week, California Air Resources Board enacted new rules with huge implications come 2035. And if you think about it, it is really not that, it's like 12 years down the road. Zero emission cars and pickups can be sold. And that will include RVs in the Golden State, at least Class C motorhomes. And 15 other states are following suit, including my home state of Oregon. By 2045, Class A's and let's see, the ones that will get a break are the plug-in hybrids that will be allowed to, you know, to go through the 2035 ban. All right, and what's the impact going to be on other services? A little quick information here. Let's talk about fine print of the new regulations. If you already have a fossil fuel burning engine, car, truck, or motorhome, California won't stop you from driving them. Even after 2035, anyone who wants to buy or sell a used gas or diesel burning rig will be free to do so. The ban strictly applies to new vehicles. All right, so that is good news. Let's see, if there were a case where you need to drive your motorhome or your pickup, pulling your trailer miles. All right, so no limit, not limited to California. Here's the other states that are looking at it. We've got Colorado, Connecticut by 2025. The Constitution state wants 125 to 150,000 electric vehicles on its road. So here's the deal. What if that's not the major vehicle people want to buy? So good, guess what? I'd like to be a size 10 today. So what? I mean, that's not going to happen today. I don't want, so anyways, you know what I'm saying. They want that many, so yeah. Delaware has already said it will adopt California's regulations. Maine won't wait is the state's motto on clean air emissions. It wants 200,000 zero emission cars by 2030. 8 years, 200,000. Maryland has its own clean air program. Under this program, old line state can readily adopt California's regulations. Massachusetts, the state will adopt and put in place California's clean, okay? Minnesota, the state already adopted California's emission rules back in 2021. Although it's not a shoe-in, some state lawmakers are balking at what's happened and want to back out. So I would say, considering some of the issues that the world is going through right now, things that people might have decided back in 2020 or 2021, oh, well, don't forget you have a constituency that votes. All right, New Jersey has its own plans on pumping up the number of zero emissions vehicles at once. 85% of the new light duty vehicles sold by 2040. That's a lot. New Mexico, last month, the state's clean car rule became the standard. The state will start phasing out gas-powered cars, trucks, and SUVs in 4 years. 2026, New Mexico, for it sounds like the new vehicles. New York, no big surprise there, would phase in non-gas powered cars and trucks with the California rule. Oregon says it wants 90% of new vehicles sold to be zero emissions by 2035. You know, I've been looking at other states. I'm sorry to say, I hope my little sister's not on here, to possibly have as my home state. For the main reason is I just do not, this is my home. I have relatives who came here in 1846 on wagon trains, but I have really no representation. I live in Eugene. I'm one of the 3 pockets where the voting does not represent many of my values. It does some of my values, of course, because I'm not, I'm a whole person and I have a brain that sees things in a multitude of ways. So I'm just saying, overall, the government of Oregon does not represent me much. So I apologize for Oregon's crap. Rhode Island governor signed a joint letter, total of 12 states governors, asking President Joe Biden to support phasing out gas-powered cars by 2035. Vermont, the Green Mountain state, wants to go green. It says by 2025, more than 5% of its new. Okay, well, that's more reasonable than 90%. And then Washington state jumps California's regulations. A new law requires that all cars registered in the state be electric by all new cars by 2030 that are registered. So anyways, I won't go into the industry response, but I will put this link at the bottom of the or in the description afterwards. All right, let me pop back over here, see if there's anybody still in the room. All right, I'm going to go from following the yellow brick road. We'll start there. Guess I better buy another truck right before it all happens. I guess so, if you think you might need one after that anytime soon. D, green is unsustainable. It would be interesting to have a conversation about why that is, because I'm in agreement with you on that. Oh, like Oregon, that is controlled by Portland Metro and college towns, absolutely. Controlled the rest of the state. In Washington is Seattle, Puget Sound, and the Spokane. We have found that in Oregon, almost there are only like 3 or 4 counties, about maybe 4 out of 30-ish that, well, there's only, the rest of them vote differently, let's just say that. All right, so let's see, Henry Feltz, welcome. Thank you for coming. Glad you're here. I know. I think you're short-sighted. That's, Don Klein, welcome. Glad you're here. Seeing if I missed anybody else. All right, so doesn't look like I've missed anybody. All right. So if you are a I mean, it was some for Washington, about 5 counties. Yeah, that's my niece. So my niece, one of my oldest sister, who has since she passed 4 or 5 years ago, she moved to Washington. She and her husband, and because he had an excellent job up there working for Weyerhaeuser, and they lived there for 45 years until they passed. But so I still have a lot of family from my one sister that live in that area. This is my credits. I think they should have to toe the line first. Yeah. All right. So that's my concern, Dee. And there's nothing about my personality or who I am that is excited about having someone try to control me. All right, and then one more minute, and what I'm going to do, Shirley, is I'm going to drop the link, and then I'm going to share one more piece of information that just came in, as a matter of fact. And you can go ahead and grab it while I finish sharing this little information. And this is about the violence in the country. So it affects all of us as well. And again, my channel covers many things, many things. And this is this really is sad, but I want to share it because I'm sure this isn't the only place. I'm seeing crime spiking in my own town here, Eugene, Oregon. Crime is crazy. And so what happened is 5 people shot on Coney Island Boardwalk, 1 dead. And this is the second time this summer that the story said 5 people have been shot there. 1 man is dead, 4 other people injured after the shooting on the boardwalk. Happened just before midnight. 42-year-old man was shot in the back. You know, and we've seen there was this very little tiny Asian lady. I saw a video of her getting punched in the side of the head and knocked to the ground for a purse. And that is not limited to, you know, it's not one time. I mean, I've seen this. I have to read news stuff because of my channel. And there's days that I force myself not to because it's too depressing. 49-year-old woman was shot in the right leg. 34-year-old was shot in the right foot. 46-year-old man shot in the left leg, and another man was shot in the left leg. So, you know, we have a lot of stuff happening in the United States and abroad that are, I'm not going to speak to why everybody's doing everything they're doing. However, I can say that I believe everybody needs to be aware of what's going on so that we can be as safe as possible and have heads up. So that's my goal here. All right. So Shirley, are you ready to come up and take some questions? All right. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you're here. So first of all, thank you for the interview. And I really tried to edit out so much of what I said so that your story is what the focus was about. But it's kind of hard, you know, when you're having a conversation, and I like to look at it more as a conversation than an interview, because I'm not really interviewing. I'm just getting to, you know, talking about your life and talking about how people live and what everybody does. So was there anything that you felt we missed yesterday?
I think we covered a lot of topics. Others might have questions that we haven't covered. So, you know, okay. I'm open to answering any questions that anyone has.
All right. So does anybody have any questions for Shirley? I know, let's see, I think I had a couple. Okay, so I wanted to just kind of clarify your travel status. You have a home base where you go back to. Okay, cool. That's a lot, you know, so and you're utilizing that this end of summer because you just needed to hang out with your family?
Well, it all started with needing to go to the doctor. So just to clarify, I do still have my home. My adult children rent it.
Uh-huh.
So that covers the mortgage payment. I still have a few years left on the mortgage, which, frees up some money for me to allow me to go and travel. So
Uh-huh.
it's kind of the best of two worlds. Then that way, once I'm no longer able to do full-time RV life, I have a place to come home to. So
And
it's,
that's important.
yes, it works.
I've seen many full-timers buying property. Camper Van Kevin. Oh gosh, I'm thinking, I know I'm seeing a couple of others in my head that I'm not able to put their name to my lips right now. But yeah, buying up property so they have somewhere they can hunker down on if necessary.
Right. Yes, and I didn't want to get caught like that. If I sold my house, then I if I came back, it'd be apartment living. I don't think I'd buy another home. I would
Uh,
want something, fairly maintenance free for me. So it's something for folks to consider before they sell their home and take off on a journey like this. You really need to decide what your exit strategy is going to be. And I did a video on that, by the way. So if anybody's thinking about it, you can look at my video on exit strategy.
okay, yeah. So please, I remember that. I watched that video. If someone could find that and drop a link for it, I would appreciate it. And I will also make sure I have your link in my description. I think it's there, but I'm not sure. So as Kaylee's pointing out, Asha has a nomad ranch, and I know a lot of people go there. Right now, Camper Van Kevin just put like his third or fourth a building on his little piece of property. I think it's his third, and for storage. So I was thinking I would love to be in Arizona and have a piece of property down there.
Right. I mean, it would be good, especially for winter time, and then, go out and travel, weather, gets warmer. It would be nice to have a spot like that. I don't know, after the last couple of winters in Arizona, that I would want to pick Arizona, but that's just me. So it was so windy this last winter. It was ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. So that's why I'm not going to Arizona this winter.
Oh, it is. So when we went there in January, like mid-January, and we left March, mid-March. And we had some wind for certain.
Yes, that winter wasn't as bad as this last winter. Last winter we had 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, it seemed like, almost every single day. It was ridiculous. And constantly dust inside the trailer, and you had to dust 2 or 3 times a day just to keep your table clean, up by the door when I came in where my TV stand is. Constantly, and it gets in the curtains, it gets in your bedding. It caused me a lot of coughing, and it was a big headache. So hopefully the wind won't be as bad this winter there, but I'm not chancing it. So,
well, there is the what's it called, fever? My sister, Valley fever. One of my older sisters lived there for 13 years in the Phoenix area, and she was an outside salesperson. She sold, as a matter of fact, she sold buses, not RV buses, but big buses that you could turn into an RV. But she sold buses, and so she was in and out of the office. She was always out and about, walking to and fro, and there wasn't always pavement. And she ended up with Valley fever, and very sick for a year off and on.
Yeah. Our friends, Don and Scotty from Code 4 for Life. Don contracted Valley fever while he was there camping with us, and they had to leave early and go back home. So, especially when you have winds like that, it just stirs up that
Sure.
contagion, and it's really hard to get rid of.
I've actually wondered if there is more people, obviously, that, get that are traveling through and spending time there.
That I don't have any numbers on that. It's just, personal experience for me. I didn't contract valley fever myself, but like I said, with all the dust in the air from your curtains and your bedding, you move and turn over at night and the dust flares up, and it caused me to cough. And, I had to take Zyrtec every night almost before I went to bed. So.
Okay. And I would imagine for people like my husband has emphysema, and he, he didn't really have, he's still smoking, but so I guess he couldn't really complain if he did get it. So, but I'm just saying, people with emphysema and other breathing disorders that are just trying to live and survive certainly could have that worsen just by living there.
That's possible.
Traveling Granny said, read up on valley fever before I head to Arizona this past year. Miska did just fine. Good.
Yeah, good.
And because, animals get it. And one of the channels that I ran across last year, their animal had got it. I thought about little Patty Cake, our beagle, because she's so close to the ground. Although she's not a big digger, she's not a big digger. So,
right.
Dogs can get valley fever is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, dogs can get valley fever.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think that one of my dogs has problems with it because he coughs and sneezes all the time now. And he never did that before. So.
I saw the one. I'm trying to think of. You had how many two dogs with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I remember the one, and I don't know why my brain is blocking out the other. Isn't there a black one?
Well, he's kind of gray and white with a little bit of tan. His name is Ziggy. And then I have a golden little Yorkie, and her name is Dee Dee.
That's us, the Yorkie, I remember.
Yeah.
But I guess I probably do the other one too. I just
they're both Yorkies, brother and sister, as a matter of fact. So they're from the same.
Carolyn's RV Life, both her and her dog got it. Yep, I remember that too. So we have to be careful and kind of look at the area we're going into to stay. So do you recommend having a home base to go back to, or do you feel like if somebody just wants to do it and not have their home base, that's a safe thing too? You just need to be aware of where you're going to be staying at all times, obviously.
Well, yes, and that's going to be an individual decision. Excuse me. It's just going to depend on your circumstances. Where are you financially? Where do you plan to be 10 to 20 years down the road financially? If you had to buy another home, could you do that? That sort of thing. And as you age and you're on limited income, you're not always a good risk for a mortgage. So that's something to consider. And if you can't, what are you going to do? And that's why you have to think about, okay, if I do this, what's my long-term exit strategy going to be?
That long-term exit strategy is very important. I'll tell you. So what I did, I really was foolish. I'm very easy to say I was foolish. So I fell in love with the idea of what it is, and I still am. And I was just watching Bob Wells this afternoon talking about it again, and it let me see here. Selling our home allowed this life. Okay, Don. Well, so yeah, that's true too. So anyways, I thought, now I do have the home base. This house belonged to my father. My father passed, and I've been here for 25 years, ended up taking care of him, blah, blah, blah. He passed 2 years ago. It's still it is still here. He had a reverse mortgage on it. Normally, under any other circumstance, this house would have automatically been mine. Because I am disabled in the state of Oregon, I could have stayed here till I died. So there's some steps I need to take to put this house in my name. I would like to keep this house and
Right.
just pay taxes and all that. And in Oregon, the taxes on this house are only about $2,500 a year. We're in the county. In the city, it would be double this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're lucky. Okay, Kaylee, I would like to know, and I'll go over there as soon as my live stream is done, and I'll check out what's happening with Kevin. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Kaylee.
What's that, dear?
I was saying goodbye to Kaylee.
Kaylee is such a good person. She has helped me. I want to show you something that she sent me. And I love this book. It's called The Next Exit. And I don't know if any of you that travel out there have this, but The Next Exit, I'm just going to share is, I'm just going to look here in Oregon. Just let me go here to Oregon. So Oregon, it tells you what's at the next exit. So interstate, there's 84. Let me find the area that I know really well, which is Interstate 5. And actually 101, I know pretty darn well myself. Oregon. So, for instance, interstate. Come on, that we're at Oklahoma. Okay, interstate. Okay, we'll just go here. Interstate 5. Here, okay, here we are. So Interstate 5, up at the Washington, Oregon border, for instance, at the first pull off or the first exit would be Jansen Beach. It tells you restaurants that are there, gasoline that's there. Further down, I believe it also tells you about places where you can dump, although I have a app for that. I don't know if you use it, but I really like having that app for dumping because I didn't know, we knew nothing about where to go. And so it is exactly what it says it is, next exit. And
Did you get that on Amazon?
I'm sure she did, yeah. It's I've got the 21 version, but I think it's a fabulous book. It says here it was $20.95. So it's well worth it. And I was going to talk about another book. I thought, because you're not, it doesn't sound like you're afraid of heights, so to speak. That's not a big problem for you, but I'm terrified of heights. And Kim from Roan Town Girl sent me a couple different ones, one for the Pacific Northwest and one for the Southwest. And it has all the passes and what to expect, and we talked about that. So there's lots of different resources out there. Now, is there anything that you use resource-wise for traveling other than your GPS?
Well, I use the benchmark maps
Yes.
to look for boondocking spots out west. There's also a book that I use. I think it's called Free and Low Cost Camping. It's called The Right Guide, WRIGHT Guide to Free and Low Cost Camping. And that is an excellent thing to have in case you're in an area where you don't have internet service. It helped us, Dawn and Kevin and I, to find camping locations when we were up in Idaho in areas where we didn't have any cell service. A lot of good information. So I highly recommend it.
Okay, well, that's good to know because people could spend a lot of time just driving around if they don't know what they're doing. Now, I did, as you know, and it's sadly out there that when we went to Arizona, I just envisioned, in serious, honest to God envision, this is all I planned. We did not have a map with us, but I know how to go north, south, east, and west.
Yes.
So I thought, I'm going to California, I'm kind of going to Southern California, and I'm making a left-hand turn at some point. And I'm going to Arizona, and then I'll find Quartzsite. I mean, that's how obnoxiously childish I was about it. And we get down into California, and I'm in a trauma state
Right.
at one point at night when I wasn't used to lanes that are like 8 abreast, 6 or 8 abreast, going 80, 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I also didn't. So do you travel at night? I learned a lesson. I don't travel at night. Hi, Naj.
I used to travel at night all the time, but I don't anymore. My night vision isn't as good as it used to be. And as a result, I don't think I need to be towing anything at night. So I like to be wherever I'm going to need to be by 3 p.m. That's kind of my goal.
Mm-hmm.
That allows time to get there and get set up while it's still light outside.
Right. Well, and I traveled about 50. I felt really comfortable at 50 to 55 miles an hour. I did find myself going 60, but truthfully, I just feel much better in that RV driving it about 55.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. You have to do what makes you feel safe.
Right.
Hi,
Right.
Taj.
So I'm hoping that by the time we come back out, that we either have a tow or we have a different setup and not a Class C. Really, here's a question. So what do you have hooking up your truck to your trailer? Do you have like one of those stabilizer bars, or what do you have that keeps things from feeling like it's like going to go off the road? I've never towed a vehicle or towed anything before.
Right. I have the equalizer. It's a 4-point hitch system. And I really don't hardly ever feel any sway when I'm driving.
Okay.
So,
well,
it works really well.
Cool, because that's the thing. Because I do a lot of the driving, and I love driving. I ended up driving the RV. I just, I don't like passes, but
right.
And I guess if I want to go any place beautiful, I'm going to have to get over that, because nothing against Kansas, because I have seen some pictures and it's beautiful, but you can't really compare the flat ground anywhere to the beauty of the big mountains of what you can find in Colorado, Washington, the passes here in Oregon. I mean, really.
Right, exactly. And so the passes are just something that you have to learn to deal with, but they have some of the most amazing views. I know Teton Pass is, I think it's like a 12 or 15% grade going up or coming down. And towing a trailer up that steep of a grade kind of concerned me, not because it was so high, but just was my truck gonna do okay,
Yeah.
So when I know that I'm going over a pass like that, I make sure all my tanks are empty. You don't want to have any extra weight.
Okay.
Don't carry any extra water. And then once you get through them, before you park, you need to go get water. But
Okay.
it's just best not to carry extra weight when you're traveling passes like that.
So that's kind of the information that novices like me need to know, is don't carry, be empty when you're going up and over passes.
Right.
Because usually we're going up and over to somewhere down on the other side where we can
Right.
get, more water.
Exactly.
I just, that's a good point. Really, that is a good point. Is there, overall, the effect that traveling has had on you, and how long have you been doing this on your own?
I've been doing it about, well, about 2.5 years full time.
Okay.
But I did it for about 3 years part time while I was still working.
Oh,
So
okay. So overall, what would you say the effect of traveling has been on your life overall?
it's enriched my life a lot. Um, I love my family. I love being with my family, but they have their own lives, and it's to the point now where my daughter has children that are in their 20s. Only one child left in high school. Grandma's not as important as when they were younger.
Yeah.
They have busy lives themselves now.
Yes.
And my daughter's always going off on vacations, or she's going somewhere with friends. She's got stuff to do. My other kids work, have friends. They're off and gone. They come in, say hello, eat something, and leave. So why would I want to sit here all by myself? It makes no sense to me. When I worked all my life, I didn't have the chance to go out and travel and have fun and see America. I have the opportunity now. So it's given me a new life. It's letting me see and do things I've always wanted to do. So, and don't wait, I lost my husband 8 years ago. I wish we had been able to do this together, but we didn't get the chance. So all I'm saying is, don't wait. If there's any way that you can do this, go do it. Don't be afraid of it. Research it, learn what you need to, but get out there and go do it. Live your life.
Mhm. That is what everybody who's doing it says, especially those who are moving up in age. And I just turned 60, and I'll tell you, honest to God's truth, because that's how I do this thing. Is I turned 60 last October. I have cried, and we haven't been able to travel because of the health stuff we've been dealing with and finances and all those good things. I have cried more about that process of feeling like life is just done. I'm 60. And then, here's you, 67, doing exactly what Richard and I want to be doing. Now, we will get to travel more. I'm not, we will, but because I allowed things to happen to me physically and not get them taken care of sooner, I will never be able to do certain things again. I won't ever be able to backpack again. That's just a reality. Learning to live with those choices is part of it. So I've been the 1 year of grief, because my birthday is next month. I'm a little over a month away. And it's just been a battle with grief over what I didn't take care of soon enough. I had both knees done. I knew intuitively those knees would have to get done or I was never going to get to do anything, because I could not walk hardly through my house. It was like rocks on rocks. And that feels fine. I have other issues, that I won't waste time with on here, but other issues with the knees that were a result of injuries after post-surgery, but the pain is gone. So now I have to use a walker. If I'm going outside of this house, I have to use a walker. So I've been looking at trails that I see everybody, even some things I've seen where you were at, I just study really closely. Well, can my walker fit on that trail? It's ridiculous, because I took that fall in Arizona because of my ego. I just didn't want to, and I went boom, and it wasn't an easy getting up.
Yeah. So, have you thought about doing more physical therapy since
I am in physical therapy right now for my legs, to strengthen my legs. So yes, ma'am. And I am working on it, and they're a little stronger. And I know we can do this live. I don't question it. We've had to have surgeries, I've had, since we've been back this last year and a half, we both have had surgeries. Richard really needs another surgery, blah, blah, blah. And it's so hard to, when you're out on the road, medical stuff. Richard, right. Right now we need our doctors here.
Right.
But it will fall into place when it's supposed to. So
exactly.
It's, getting good information from you and other people who are actually doing it. I really need. It's part of the reason I like to interview people, have these conversations. There's a selfish side to it. Tell me the secrets.
Yes.
All right, Shirley. Well, is there anything that you want to add to it before we go?
Just keep, if you're really considering this lifestyle, do plenty of homework. There's lots of good channels out there to watch. Make sure that you have resources available to you. Try to find out what apps work best for you in finding new locations. Know the type of rig that you're in. Make sure that you have information on regular maintenance for your rig and for your vehicle, because that's something that will need to be done on a regular basis if you're going to continue to do this life.
Right.
It's something that has to be taken care of.
Well, we had to have maintenance done on our RV when we got down there. One of our airbags in the back blew out, and we had to go have it taken out professionally. And so that was not an expense, although it ended up only costing $150.
That's good.
You have to be prepared for things to happen. So anyways, all right. Well, thank you for showing up and for hanging out and for doing the interview and then coming back for today. I know it's kind of been a long chat, but I appreciate it so much, Shirley. And you really are inspirational. What you're doing, I'm having chills. I'm genuinely having chills because I so badly want to get to the point where we get to spend more time out. We get to meet people like you in person. And I appreciate the strength that it takes to do what you're doing.
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And we'll just keep praying for you and uplifting you. And hopefully, we never got a chance to meet last year when you were out in Quartzsite.
No.
Our paths just didn't work together. I really would love to meet you in person. We've been talking for quite some time now. And you're a wonderful person, Lucretia. So it'll get there. You'll get there. Just keep on dreaming.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I put my phone number in one of our emails. So if you ever want to call, feel free to give me a call. I'm always available.
Great. I'll do that.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, Shirley. Bye-bye. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. And all you got to do, Shirley, is hit the Leave Studio button, the red one, and it should drop you out of there. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. I can't believe there's even still 10 people here. But so does anybody have any information or ideas about either the what Shirley had to share about or about the news that I shared? Any thoughts or ideas about that? If you do, put it down in the after the video in the comments section. That's the word I'm looking for. And Shirley is the best. Shirley is the best. I've had 2 conversations with her now, and I really always get something out of it from her. So emergency car fund, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go over to 30 and a wake up. If there's anybody in here still who can drop a link to 30 and a wake up, I would love to raid his live stream if it's still going on, because Kevin, I love Kevin's channel, and I had the I was blessed to be able to have a long, like it was a 4-hour interview with him. It was a very long one. He's done so much. I'm going to look, as a matter of fact, and see if his is still going. And because I think that's, yeah, I mean, I know that's what I'd like to do. Okay, YouTube. Let's see, 30 and wake up. 30. And wake up. There we go. I found his channel. All right. Yes, he's still live. So if somebody could drop that link for me, I would be greatly appreciative. In the meantime, I'm going to share one last little thought, and then we will move on for the evening. I found this after I was done reading all the news. I was just, it's a very depressing. It can be an overwhelmingly depressing world right now. However, there's always hope. And I forget that sometimes because there's things that trigger my fear button. And I've got a book called The Secret Power of Prayer by Joyce Meyer. And what it says, this little bit of scripture says, he spoke to them saying, take courage, I am. Stop being afraid. Matthew 14:27. I am. Stop being afraid. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to stop being afraid. I'm going to go do some stuff myself. I'm going to go see Kevin, and I wish the best for all of you, and I will see you later in the week. Be safe, be healthy, and know that we genuinely love and appreciate every one of you for coming by. All right. Have a good evening.